What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about Canada's Special Operations Forces. Here in the United States, we take a lot of pride in our military. And, as a result of that, I really don't think that we even bother to try to learn about other militaries, certainly not Canada's. So today, I want to take a look at this video and learn about Canada's elite special operations units. So let's take a look.
Join us as we take a dive into the various units of the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command.
Okay. What is this? What? Our voices are disguised. So we can give you information on just about anything without being detected. What kind of information are we about to get? What? That you have to disguise your voice? Is that why the narrator sounded like that? Is that why?
Various units of the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command.
Is that why there's the voice thingy? I feel like, am I in danger if I learn the wrong information here? Are like the Canadian Special Forces gonna bust into this room and be like, "You were never meant to know that, eh?" Okay, now I'm intrigued. All right, what are we about to be told that they had to disguise their voices?
You might know what every Special Operations Force of the United States military is, but do you know what Canada has to bring to the table?
Um, I don't know if people outside the US care about or know about the US military, or we certainly like to hoot and holler about our military and how we are the best and the greatest. And I think we have some famous special forces here, like the Navy SEALs, if you've heard of them, or like the Green Berets, Delta Force, stuff like that. I've certainly learned about, as an American growing up in the US. But I can't say that we're ever really taught or hear about Canadian Special Forces. So, yeah, I'm very interested to hear this.
In the world of special operations, you'll come to find out that they are well trained, highly effective, and utilized in the full spectrum of combat. The
Okay.
first unit we're going to cover is the highly renowned Joint Task Force 2.
Joint Task Force 2.
Joint Task Force 2 is Canada's elite Tier 1 unit.
Okay. Are they like organized into tiers? Like some are considered the best of the best of the best? I can't help but say it. What happened to Joint Task Force 1? Is that just me? Joint Task Force 2? That's the real the big guys. Okay.
As with most other Tier 1 units, JTF-2 is primarily tasked with performing counterterrorism operations, both
Oh.
domestically and around the world. JTF-2's members are trained to a high standard in order for them to operate effectively in stressful environments.
Oh my god. This is the real deal. Counterterrorism? I gotta say, I hope it's no insult to Canadians, but I think it's just, honestly speaking, here in the US, we don't really think about Canada's military. Like, not that we necessarily think it is weak, but I think it is smaller, and we just don't really hear about the stuff that you guys are doing. That's mostly probably just because we're so centered on what we're doing. So, it's cool to see that you guys have like some of the best highly trained, badass, special forces people in the world by the look of it.
JTF-2 specializes in direct action, hostage rescue, special reconnaissance, foreign internal defense, protective security, and other high-value tasks. They are
Okay.
known for their great professionalism and discretion during operations, and work alongside other elite units such as Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, and the SAS.
So this Canadian Special Forces unit, JTF2, literally works right alongside the best American Special Forces units, like hand in hand, which is awesome to hear about. And yeah, I feel like Canadians in this regard are kind of underappreciated here. I would definitely say that.
JTF-2 was created in 1993 to take over hostage rescue and counter-terrorism responsibilities from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police CERT teams. After
Okay.
9/11, it was committed to international matters and saw its first major combat role outside of Canada. To date, as you'd expect with any Tier 1
Wow.
unit, most information about JTF-2 is classified.
Well, it's classified. That's why your voice is hidden, right? We're all taking a risk listening to this even, or the Canadian government is listening in. Maybe. Look at some of these video clips, by the way. Like, just casually, rappelling out of helicopters and stuff. This is pretty freaking cool.
And the Government of Canada does not comment on its affairs. The next unit we're going to discuss is the Canadian Special Operations Regiment.
That's what it's called. Canadian Special Operations Regiment. That's a mouthful. Okay.
CSOR is a relatively young force in the world of special operations, being stood up in 2006. CSOR is along the lines of a special infantry unit, with its concept similar to the U.S. Army Ranger Regiment. It provides
Okay.
Canada with a versatile and multi-mission force that's capable of delivering tactical and strategic level effects.
Cool. So somewhat obviously specialized, and it's interesting to learn about some of these like regiments or units are not that old. 20 years is a long time, but this was only made in 2006, I think they said.
CSOR's core skills are special warfare, special reconnaissance, and direct action. It can
Okay.
conduct complex and difficult raids, work with armed forces of other countries, capture strategic facilities, and can adapt to dynamic security environments. CSOR
Wow.
delivers a robust, flexible, and high-readiness expeditionary force that is able to deploy abroad on an as-needed basis. Just like
my
any
God.
other SOF force, CSOR also has its support personnel. CSOR support personnel play an integral role in its operational effectiveness, and are capable of working under harsh conditions with minimal direct supervision.
Oh my god. Yeah, you guys have all this. Like, I know I've already said this. Like, this is just not what a lot of Americans think of when we think of like the Canadian military. Maybe it's just because we're really stuck on like Canadian stereotypes that I'm sure you guys are kind of sick of hearing. Like, oh, they're so nice and friendly, and no, they'll jump out of a helicopter and smack you in the head, or probably worse if you're part of this team.
CSOR supporters consistently produce high-quality results. CSOR pulls from Canada's Army, Navy, and Air Force. Once a year
Okay.
for about 10 days, CSOR recruits from these services. There's two types of candidates, those that want to be operators and those that want to be supporters. Each have their own standards.
Oh my god, look at this! We're not doing this here in the US. This like tactical snowmobile stuff. This is so freaking Canadian right here.
Candidates who want to join CSOR will put themselves through several arduous months of physical and mental exercises, focusing on combat skills and survival methods.
Oh
Those who
my
make the
God.
cut receive the regiment's tan beret and are assigned based on their category to either of the three direct action companies, Special Forces Company, or Support Company.
So these are obviously like some of the best of the best of the best of Canada's military, basically.
With CSOR covered, the next unit we're going to go over is the Canadian Joint Incident Response Unit.
These are a mouthful. Canadian Joint Incident Response Unit. Okay.
The Canadian Joint Incident Response Unit provides a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense response for special operations missions.
Oh my god. That's a fascinating speciality. Like chemical, biological defense. Honestly, when you think about it, especially in this day and age, where like there are terrifyingly not just like nuclear weapons, but like biological, chemical, technological weapons, even like digital warfare. I don't know if they get into that, but it actually makes a lot of sense that there would be a unit dedicated to this purpose. It's just not really something you think about.
Essentially, the Canadian Joint Incident Response Unit is the 911 for Canada when it comes to CBRN. But keep in mind, it is not solely a first responder element. The unit's main focus is detecting, identifying, and mitigating CBRN risks, and then later deals with decontamination efforts if they are required.
Yeah. I hope the US has something like this. I've never really heard of this before. But this is obviously something that you need. It's scary to think about.
The unit responds with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Public Health Agency of Canada during its CBRN operations. The three troops this unit is broken down into are the Sampling and Identification Troop, Surveillance Troop, and the Decontamination Troop.
It's interesting because obviously some of these special forces units are not just like the conventional badass gun assault rifle out of the airplane punching you in the face type of thing. That's cool and necessary, but this is like people who are probably have high levels of education or and like science degrees and to like we're literally talking about combating chemical warfare.
This unit also deploys internationally. These deployments are typically short and occur with little to no warning. Other forces in Canada's military utilize their specialized response capability abroad if needed. Their op tempo and speed is very fast, and it is much more demanding than most of Canada's military specialties. Members of this highly capable unit devote a large part of their time to training and education. Like in CSOR, members in this unit are either operators or supporters. The selection process to get into this unit is also rigorous.
I would hope they get into that. How the heck do you become a part of this? Because it sounds very specialized.
And candidates undergo difficult training with many voluntarily withdrawing. On a final note, select members of this unit are also qualified to conduct operations with Joint Task Force 2. The next unit in CANSOC.
What? So the personnel in this unit can also like do a lot of the other stuff that's more like physical, I guess you would say, or combative, or that's crazy.
SOFCOM is the 427 Special Operations Aviation Squadron.
427 Special Operations Aviation Squadron. Okay.
To put it simply, the 427 SOAS is to Canada what the 160th SOAR is to the United States. 427 SOAS provides dedicated Special Operations aviation assets to Canada's Special Operations, while also providing assets to conventional forces as needed. Unlike the 160th SOAR, however, there is no formal selection process like you'd expect. To get into this unit, personnel wind up getting assigned this billet like any other assignment. The lack of a selection process does not speak for its capabilities or recognition, however.
That's freaking cool. Where your speciality is basically these air vehicles and stuff.
It still plays a vital role in supporting counterterrorism, special reconnaissance, and much more. The aircraft of 427 SOAS can be armed with onboard aerial snipers, provide limited direct fire support from crew-served mounted machine guns, and are able to provide means of insertion and extraction by fast rope, rappelling, and low hover techniques in rural, urban, and maritime environment.
This is why the US needs to stop having this stereotype of Canada, at least for like this kind of stuff, or stop underestimating Canada, because I do think we're guilty of that. Because it's like I didn't know any of this about Canada's military capabilities. You guys have everything.
One of the aircraft they use is the CH-146 Griffin helicopter. While this unit has a decent amount of history to it, it was only transformed into a special operations entity in 2006. So like CSOR, this unit is also technically newer in the world of special operations. And now for an honorable mention in this video, the Naval Tactical Operations Group.
Okay. So a Navy.
Although NTOG is not a member of CANSOFCOM, We felt it was necessary to mention them in this video due to their intense missions and capabilities.
Oh my
The Naval
gosh.
Tactical Operations Group is a full-time, dedicated unit within the Royal Canadian Navy that specializes in advanced boarding operations at sea.
Is this anything like comparable to U.S. Navy SEALs? Because that's probably the most famous special forces unit in the U.S., the Navy SEALs. And, hearing that this is like the special forces unit of the Canadian Navy. So, is it kind of comparable to that?
Part of these operations include maritime interdiction, which is the interception of suspect vessels in order to prevent the movement of illicit cargo and material at sea. Their secondary duties are force protection, such as protecting Navy ships, infrastructure, and personnel.
Sure.
TOG teams are deployed to various ships, augmenting the ship's company for a mission or period of time. They provide additional security and planning capabilities to these ships as well. Each member is
Okay.
trained in hand-to-hand combat, interrogation techniques, precision shooting, advanced medical skills, mission planning, and IED identification.
Interrogation? I like how the other stuff, like hand-to-hand combat, like, they can karate chop your head off. Sure, like, somehow I'm fine with that, but it's like, what? Then it's like, what? Interrogation techniques? Like, gee, this is getting kind of dark.
TOG was created in 2014, so this is another newly minted entity of the Canadian Armed Forces. This unit is available to any personnel serving in the Royal Canadian Navy or its reserves. Alright, with our honorable mention covered, let's move on to our last.
Look at them doing like this mock mission on the ship. Like, this is what it takes, isn't it? This is amazing. Like, I'm trying to listen to the narrator and like get all the information, but this video is like incredible. Some of the stuff they're showing here while this is going on, this mock mission with them like subduing this terrorist on the boats, and yeah.
Let's move on to our last, but not least, unit of CANSOFCOM, the Canadian
Okay.
Special Operations Training Center.
Okay.
As you can probably surmise from the name, this unit develops and provides training to CANSOFCOM personnel to support its operational requirements. It's
Right.
essentially the educational and training element to Canadian Special Operations.
And I'll say again, this is probably a good example of a part of the special forces in Canada, or probably a lot of militaries, that really doesn't get credit. The training, the people who do the training, like, that's critical.
The training it provides is common to all CANSOFCOM units and runs professional development courses that push members out of their comfort zone. They provide the means to enable their operators to have the physical and mental capability to excel in the various missions they're being asked to perform.
Wow.
It also provides annual training to all CANSOFCOM personnel in areas such as ethics, rules of engagement, and human rights.
I can't help but wonder if we have those same criteria for the US. I hope we do.
And with the last unit covered, what if you're still interested in learning more about other foreign units? Chances are you're
Oh, is that it? Okay. I think that's the end of the video. That's fascinating. Oh my God, there is so much going on with the Canadian military, and you have a bunch of special forces that I've never even heard of before. A lot of cool stuff going on, and I definitely think a lot of Americans, myself included, had no idea about all this. So, yeah, I think you guys are wrongfully kind of underestimated, or we don't even know that what we don't know about Canada. So this is really cool. Obviously, it's cool to think that the United States and Canada have been allies for such a long time, and I know our militaries and our defense are very intertwined, and like, we might be going through some tough times right now, to say the least, but it makes me proud, certainly, and feel good to know that Canada has all this like amazing capability and strength, and I didn't know that. That's really cool. So respect. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like, or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these Canadian Special Forces operations units with really long names. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian things that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.